was like, I don't drink caffeine. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't think you're working hard enough if you don't need caffeine to survive the day.
That's a very, you know what? Some could argue it's a toxic way to look at it, but I also think it's a very valid way to look at it too. So I don't know what that says about me as well. But
yeah, it shocks me when people say they don't drink coffee. It's like, oh, you drink energy drinks? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. You think that's the worst thing that I do? Like, I take pre-workout, energy drinks, coffee.
But it's also like coincidentally, it's always the same guy that like tells you like on the weekend, like, you want to do some coke.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, dude. For sure. Like, I don't know how you live in LA without caffeine in your body at all.
Do you know I didn't drink coffee until 3 years ago is when I started drinking coffee.
Were you living here?
To LA.
Oh yeah, it's LA, dude.
And it was insane because I literally, like, everybody had already been drinking coffee for like 10 years. And I will never forget, like, I was able to pay attention way more to what it does to me. Yeah. The first 6 months, superhero mode. Yeah. Every time you have a coffee, you're working for like 5 hours straight. Like, it never stops. It's crazy. And then the problem is that you need to keep having more for the same effect.
You're like, man, I've had 6 cups of coffee today.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything to you? Is that my phone? No, that's fine.
I can't do 2 coffees. I can do 1 coffee, then energy drinks, but I can't do like 3 coffees. That messes me.
Yeah, 3 coffees makes you have to go to the bathroom too much.
Yeah.
But I can do an energy drink or a coffee and a pre-workout and be fine.
This is a really niche thought, but you ever been on a date with a girl and you grab coffee for the first time? And my thought is always like, you probably need to take a shit just as much as I do right now. Anyway,
it hits us all. Yeah, well,
welcome back to the podcast, everybody.
Yeah, welcome back to the Warrior Poet podcast. Josh, Kesh.
Back for another episode. Today we were thinking about leaning into the warrior side a little bit because lately we've been just berating you guys a lot about breathing and mindfulness and meditation and all that stuff, and that's definitely beautiful and half of what we're doing here.
We get a little bro now.
Exactly. We're going to tap a little more into that gladiator side of things a little bit. What does that mean? Where do we go? Where do we start?
You know, I think for the most part, that aspect, let's start with like the physical side of it. I think the physical side is the best place to start.
Totally.
Training, whatever kind of modality it is that you do, martial arts. I'm a big believer that everybody should do something physical. Yeah. Men, women, doesn't really matter. Yeah, you got to do something physical. Whatever, yoga, Pilates. You have to let your body do what it naturally wants to do, which is move.
Totally.
And learn something.
And I always think that, like, when I look at someone that's in shape, that's fit, they can be an asshole, they can be a bad person, they can be selfish, they can be all these things. But one thing I know about them is that they're disciplined.
Exactly.
It's like your number one, like, business card, I feel like.
Totally.
You know, like, if you look a certain way, like, it's just the result of hard work. There's no way around it.
You always can see the person in the room that looks like they train or work out. Mm-hmm. And, like, you know, like, that person's definitely disciplined in other areas of life. Almost 100% of the time.
And why, in your opinion, because I agree with you, but I'm just curious to hear your take on it. Why do you think that it's important to challenge? I mean, I feel like it's pretty almost like self-explanatory that like the mind needs to be trained just in life, no matter what you do. But why do you think that it's also important, like you said, to have the body go through stuff?
I think it's that old adage, like if you don't use it, you lose it. You know, it's that thing is we're all going to get older. We know that, right? What's that old saying? Like there's only 2 constants in life, death and taxes or whatever.
Yeah, right.
You know, as we get older, we know we're going to decline. The body just does. It deteriorates. And if you're not preparing it when you're younger and building that lean quality muscle when you're older, I heard a statistic the other day that was, dude, it was like, I think it was 75 or 80% of people who break a hip die within a year of breaking a hip, which is crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah, and you got to figure if you break a hip, you're not mobile, right? So you can't move, then circulation sort of stops. All the like dominoes that affect you after something.
Well, a lot of older people fall and then break their hip.
Yeah, and you don't have that core strength to brace. Right. And, you know, that's what we do as trainers and as people in fitness industry and, you know, in fitness enthusiasts.
Totally.
But I think that you need to build that foundation now. Yeah. That as you get older, which we all do, your body's prepared for those physical changes.
Yeah, I read another stat like along the same line, less, you know, intense, but still pretty scary. Like I think most people, once they get to their 30s, will never really jump again or sprint again, which is
Whoa.
crazy to think about.
Never jump again is such a weird thing to hear.
Yeah, but like a box jump, you know,
Yeah.
something as simple as that, which is like low-key a survival thing that you need in order to, you know, like if someone is chasing you, or if, you know, something happens to you, or like, you know, you need to play with your kids even, or like, but most people, it's kind of like that same train of thought. It always fucks with my mind so bad when, like, I think about the fact that, like, when you see someone playing with their child, there will be a point when it's the last time you pick up your child.
Dude.
Yeah, and I'm sure you...
My wife just said that about our son. She picked up E, and I'm like, hey, yo, he's more than half your size.
Yeah, fast forward, he's like 13 years old.
She looked at me and was like, I'm not going to be able to pick him up soon. Like, this is going to be it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to pick him up forever. Fuck that. Like, I'm going to mess with him when he's older.
Yeah.
I pick Sammy up all the time, and I put her on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And she's like 14.
Yeah.
But
at that point, it's kind of like playful messing with them. It's not the same kind of like protective.
No, definitely not the same.
So exactly, it's what you're saying. Like, if you don't use it, you lose it, and it's like, I don't want that. I want to be able to be like, you know, 35 and still like run, sprint, jump, all that stuff. Like, I don't want to, you know.
I love seeing like the older dude or the older woman in the gym that's like a grandma, and you're like, oh man, that's an adorable looking grandma, and then she bench presses, and you're like, oh my god, that grandma just bench pressed. Or like the grandpa that's doing like bicep curls, and you're like, bro, how old are you? And he's like, oh, 85.
Totally.
I'm like, 85.
And I don't know about you, and I feel like, you know, time will tell. I've had that conversation with my dad when I was younger, because, you know, my dad now has a little bit of a belly and all that stuff, and I was always like, it's never gonna happen to me. I'm always gonna have a six-pack. I'm gonna be 70 in a six-pack. But then life happens to you, so, you know, I think that I do think it's important though to really set that standard for yourself, that like you're never gonna get to that place, because I feel like that gives you a head start when, you know, things start spiraling out of control, you get injured, you get this, you get that. It gives you a point to come back to, as opposed to just like being at the mercy of like whatever season of your life you're in, therefore however you look like, you know?
Yeah, and I think, you know, we're all going to be dealt certain things as we get older. It's inevitable, you know, but you can avoid certain things.
Yeah.
Diabetes is a big one, right? Like, that is a wild thing to get. I think that we're so accustomed to talking about diabetes as like, oh, you're diabetic.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Right.
When I was going blind in my early 20s, I had to go live at a school to learn to read Braille and use a cane. I would say there was probably, as an adult school, there was probably 25 to 30 of us living in a dorm room. And I would say 18 of those people were there because they were going blind from diabetes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, at all different ages.
And you're right. People talk about it like, oh, you got freckles. Like,
it's like, no, you're not producing insulin.
Yeah.
Like, you could lose eyesight, you can lose limbs. I mean, I know someone who lost a foot. I'm like, what?
Scary.
Yeah, and you can avoid that by moving.
Yeah.
And just eating a different way.
Yeah.
And preparing, you know, I think it's taking accountability. Right?
Yeah,
That's
totally.
sort of what it feels like. You don't need to be in the gym 6 days a week or 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Some of us.
Yeah, because you can also, like, you don't use it, you lose it. But if you use it too much, you can also lose it.
Totally.
I think there is a fine line. And I think as dudes that, like, you know, like I think I know enough about you and I to say that we also use it as a way to escape.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little too much. Sometimes you need to rest.
For sure.
Sometimes you need to, the growing is actually not going.
Yeah. Most of the growing is done when you're not training, which is like the crazy irony of working out.
Yeah, exactly. It's that whole meme, you know, like, oh, rest day, where's that muscle and how do I train it? Like, but yeah, I just think that it's important. I get the feeling, it's hard to explain, but I get the feeling when I don't move my body that it's almost like for things to flow in my body, whether it is thoughts, whether it is emotions, whether it is, it doesn't matter what it is, it needs to have space. And if I'm the whole day staying in the one position, everything is stuck in that position. Whereas if I'm doing stuff, like, things flow through me.
Yeah. Agreed.
So yeah, I think that's one of the things. And I also think that, like, through doing things that are challenging, like, and this is maybe stating the obvious, but like working out or learning a new skill or climbing or weightlifting, whatever it is, it's inevitable that you're facing challenges at some point that require you to tap into the mental mindset, mindful stuff that will force you to trigger growth, because that's how it happens, quite literally. Even for muscles, you got to take them to the point where, oh, this is new territory, so it has no option but to grow. And I feel like it's very much the same thing with the body.
I think a lot of people look at it too, where they see that fit person, they automatically just jump to, I have to tomorrow work out 7 days a week and eat chicken and broccoli to look like that, and I'm not going to do that, so I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, well, no, like you definitely don't have to go that far. I tell most people that come in and meet with me, like, how many days a week do I need to do this? Man, just like 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Moving weights or your body in some way is more than enough. And then those other days, just go for walks.
Yeah.
Get outside.
Well,
go hiking, go walking down a bike trail. That whole like 10,000 step thing.
Yeah.
It's, I think, 300 to 500 calories burned in
walking
10,000
it blows
steps.
people's minds when I tell them that the secret to staying lean, I strongly believe, is walking.
Yeah.
You burn more calories when you walk and do that 10,000 steps you're talking about than you would if you did like a workout where you just fuck around in the gym for an hour straight. Like,
yeah, on your phone.
don't even get me started.
No, it's totally one of the things that I tell them to track it. Send me a picture of your watch, like, and just in a month, see what happens. I always hit 12,000 steps every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's a goal. Like, I try to move around. I have an office. I can sit at my desk, but if I can, I'm going to walk around. I think I'm at 9,000 steps right now, and it's like 2:30. It's been a busier day than normal, but just moving, just getting things circulating, getting your metabolism firing.
And I think it depends also like where you start. I think a lot of the time the reason why, this is maybe shifting gears a little bit, but the reason why people aren't able to stick with their goals is because they already want to be at the finish line, whereas they don't realize that like the hardest part is to put the shoes on.
Yeah.
To quote David Goggins, it's literally to put your shoes on and be like, okay, let me drive to the gym. And most of the time you're not going to feel like even doing that section, but once you've done that and you arrive at the gym, just tell yourself, I'm just doing 5 minutes. And if you do the 5 minutes, 90% of the time, I guarantee you what happens is that you start going, well, you know what? Actually, now that I've moved, I kind of feel pretty good. Like, let me do another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll do a couple of curls before I go. I might as well. I'm here now. And before you know it, you've done a workout. And I feel like that's always like just that starting point. And that's why it's so essential sometimes to just make a promise with yourself when you start a new goal. It's a non-negotiable. I'm not talking about like, well, yeah, but what if on this date that? What if? No, you put the shoes on, you go. And then you can go home if you want once you're there, but I guarantee you most of the time you're not going to feel like going home.
Non-negotiable is like the perfect way to say it.
Yeah.
That's what it should be every day. And again, doesn't need to be something intense and crazy. Just start. Yeah. Non-negotiable, start.
The only thing that works is the thing you can stick to over time. That's why I really think like all those like 12-week shreds, summer, six-pack, fuck off. Like it just, you're selling something, cool, good for you, make some money, but like that person is going to kill themselves to try to look the way they want to look, and they're never going to want to do it again because they were miserable doing it.
Yeah, my favorite thing too is like when you see those people, I'm going to look like this at the end of this 8 weeks. And I love when people ask me like, man, like, I want to look like you. Like, how long did this take? And I'm like, oh, like 10 years, bro. It took me 10 hard years. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm not the guy for you. If you want like 4 weeks, what can we do in 4 weeks? I remember one of my clients, he asked me, all right, I'm going to give you 6 weeks of my time. What can we do? I'm like, nothing. And he was like, excuse me? I'm like, it's going to take 6 weeks just for me to get you in the gym and comfortable. 6 weeks of just foundation work. Like, not a lot's going to happen. And he was like, you going to lie and tell me something like I can lose weight? I'm like, you might lose a little bit of water weight or, which is cool. But like, no, I'm not going to lie. Like, why would I do that?
I think the best like analogy that I can think about for it is like if someone's like trying to build a house that is like their dream house. Like if you give the person, the trainer in that case, in charge of building the house, like you give him 6 weeks, like sure, by the end of like week 5, when like time is running out and they're stressing out, like they can kind of like slap some nice like finishing coats on it and all that stuff, but like underneath the walls is just like fucking like paper mache and like all that stuff. Whereas if you give him like a solid like consistent like year, then all of a sudden what happens is that you have like walls that are built to resist like a tornado or hurricane, and like that's stuff that's there to stay, and also stuff that if it breaks down you can go back to it so much more easily because the foundation is so strong.
That foundation is crucial. It really is. And it's not fun sometimes, but when you realize, man, I can do this right at any time, you realize that it was worth it.
Yeah, and I think it's also like this funny thing happens where like if you do it for like 5 days, you do something. Then what happens is that on the day where all of a sudden you're not doing something, or you don't have a workout plan, or you haven't walked, there's like this weird itch that starts to happen of like, oh, wait a second, I didn't realize I had actually built a habit, kind of. Now, like, I want to move. Like, momentum triggers momentum, and all of a sudden you have this snowball effect that's wonderful. And conversely, though, if you don't do it for 3 days or 4 days, and then you've been, diligent prior to that, then all of a sudden it's so hard to start the machine again.
Yeah, your body will tell you it wants more.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the best part. That's usually where we start. It's like, hey, let's start with 2 days, and when you're ready, your body's going to tell you.
Yeah.
And that itch that you're talking about is what you're going to get. You're going to end up at the gym and be like, what do I need to, well, I guess I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, your body wanted to go. Like, it wanted to move. It wanted to go for that walk.
Yeah.
Or that hike.
And it's also, like, I think there's and I understand that, like, everybody's circumstances are different. And so not everybody has the opportunity to have access to a gym, or to be able to, like, go to the beach, surf all the time if they are into that. But I also think that I'm so huge on this, like, flip of that one word. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to. Fucking, by all means, stay at home, watch TV, don't move, eat snacks. You don't have to work out. You don't have to go for a walk. You don't have. Nobody is in charge of telling you that. You're not going to jail if you're not doing it. Like, you don't have to do none of that. You get to. You have a body. Some people don't have a body that they can use. Like, what a privilege to be able to walk somewhere and do whatever the fuck you want to do with your body. Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
and
dude.
so often we overlook that, and we just take it for granted. And before you know it, you're like 40, and like you said, you have a broken hip or this or that, and all of a sudden you can't fucking do anything.
Dude, it's funny you say, like, that reframing of that, I don't have to, I get to. So, it's such an important thing to realize and to work on, because it takes time.
Yeah.
But going back to earlier, when I was losing my vision, man, I would be in the gym and go completely blind out of nowhere. And I had to realize that when I could see, even if it was limited,
right,
or if it was going to go away, the vision that I had was a blessing or a privilege. I mean, I was very lucky, because I was also living with people that were completely blind already.
Right.
Was not coming back. Yeah. And mine was kind of in and out. And I found training to deal with stress of thinking that I was going to be permanently blind at some point. But something cool when you think, like, I get to do this, and when you start to feel it and fall in love with movement, and your body starts to do what it naturally wants to do. I would work out blind. Like, I would kind of move things where I needed them, or have people move things. And then when I had lost the vision, like, I could feel a dumbbell.
Right.
And I could pick it up, and I could curl it. And I didn't need anybody to really help me do that. I could do push-ups.
And I'm sure, like, at that point, like, as devastating as that must have been, it also, like, not to make it less or more surface level, I should say, but you have to then tap into that mind to muscle connection a million times more even.
Yeah, totally. And it's weird when you can't see yourself doing it. Either like doing a push-up, like something simple, right? Yeah. Like you see the ground.
Yeah.
And not being able to see it and doing push-ups was a wild experience. But, when I had the vision, I could see and I could train. It was like, man, I get to see this room. I get to see these people. Right. Like, I get to see, even now, one of the things that I use as gratitude every day when I wake up is, I don't know if I'm going to go blind again. Like, it came and went, and it was a long year. It could happen again, because it happened once already. And so for me, it's like, man, I get to go to work. Like, I'm not stressed about going to work ever. I love working because I get to do it.
I don't take it for granted.
I get to see my daughter and my son. I get to see my wife. I get to see, my friends and family. I get to train.
Yeah.
And I'm very conscious about every morning saying that.
Yeah.
Like, in my head.
Totally.
Right when I get up in the morning. It's a good habit to build.
100%. On a, definitely not as bad, but I told you I tore my Achilles 3 years ago now, and for a good
It's a brutal injury.
It's it's kiss of death for athletes, basically.
For sure. Yep.
And I remember that for 5 months straight, I could not walk properly. And like, I had all these little challenges. I'll never forget. I had this huge ass boot that I would sleep in bed with, and it's so annoying. You get hot and this and that. And then even as I was crossing the street, like, my one goal for like 2 months straight when I was out of surgery, I would see, like, the light turn green, the little white man appears, and I knew exactly, I had 12.5 seconds to cross. Yeah. And I would be with my crutches, and I was never able to make that 12.5. I was always like 13 seconds, had to look to the side and give that sorry look to, like, whoever's like about to drive off. And it just, like, gave me so much appreciation once that boot was finally off, and I was finally able to not hop around on that left leg constantly and all that stuff, like to just go on a walk. Unbelievable. Like, it was just like such a great example of like, it's the little things. And I think that just ties exactly into what we're saying of like, sometimes you don't realize, and I just think that's like our nature as humans as well. So we've got to give ourselves like kindness and understanding, but you don't realize what you had until you lose it.
100%.
But I think exactly for that reason too, I'm a huge believer in, you know, I think that in your early 20s especially, or, you know, like end of your teens, that's why you gotta push the machine.
Yeah, dude.
As hard as you can. Go do a marathon. Go see how many push-ups you can do in a day without stopping.
Yeah.
Go take on a new sport. Go climb. Go whatever it is, because you're not always gonna be able to do that. And what an amazing thing to be able to think that you're limitless.
Right.
Quite literally. And I think we need to put more emphasis on encouraging people to really tap into that, because it's not always going to be there.
I agree. Yeah. Do you think that one of the reasons, you know, we need to move and the body adapt so well, do you think it's because the hunter-gatherers, like genetics that we have, that, you know, you're moving, whether you're doing one of those two things. And it's talked about a lot more lately, like, oh, we're hunters, we're built to move. Oh, we're gatherers, you're still moving. You're still, either way,
I'm sure it has to do with something. And like, you know, I think for all the ways in which you and I relate in terms of like, you know, like the compassion and like, you know, not being black and white when it comes to like women's roles in society, men's roles in society, all of that stuff. I'm a little bit old school when it comes to that, and just like our origin and DNA and all that stuff. And I strongly believe that, especially as a man, not to say that women can't do that, I think they should as well. And that's a great thing for everybody and anybody to do. But as a young man, I do think to some degree that we have that sort of like energy of like, hey, like I'm coming into my own body. I'm coming into my own potential. Like, let me see how much of an amazing hunter, so to speak, I can become. And let me see how strong I can be and all of those things. Yeah, 100%.
It's like a primal like nature that we have. And I don't mean like primal in a toxic way. It's been used by certain people, kind of co-opted in a bad way. But I use it a lot, and I always have. I'm a very primal person. I go off instincts a ton. I'm very sensory in that way too, with things and people. It's a big deal. But that primal kind of, I need to push my body.
Yeah.
I think we all feel it. Mostly men, because I associate it a little bit to testosterone, to be honest.
Yeah. I think so.
I think it's like a testosterone thing. And women have testosterone, obviously.
Totally. I'm not fun to be around when I train in the gym. I always feel like, but you know what? This is the part that's awful. Maybe it's a little embarrassing too. It's okay. When I train by myself in the gym, when I go climb, it's a different story. I think it's more like fun and whatever happens. But when I'm training, just like more like, I guess, bodybuilding type, like weightlifting, I don't think I'm fun. Like I just think like I got that kind of look on my face.
Your
like,
headphones are on. You're pretty dialed in.
My headphones are on. Like don't talk
in.
To me. Like, but it's really not like because I'm an asshole. It's not because I don't want to talk. If you talk to me and you like wave, like 100%, I'll put the headphones down. Talk. But like it's almost like a dedicated moment in my day where I'm like, okay, let's. That's it. We cancel the noise outside. Like, let's go back to like, hey, can you fucking do it or not? Like, and fully just focus and, you know, not to be once again that toxic bro and all that stuff, but like expel those demons. You've had a hard day, like lock up and just get to that place that's not fun to go to, but like 100%. While you're at it and you're slaying demons, fucking enjoy it for that hour, you know?
Dude, I train with a friend like 6 days a week. We train together. No matter what, at a certain point, the headphones have to go in. And I have to just grind, dude. I want to go as heavy as I can, keeping the form. For me, one of those things too is like when you're looking in the mirror, and I used to make fun of people all the time, like, why are you looking in the mirror all the time? You know how to do this. Like, it's just conceited. But when you look in the mirror and you see certain muscles moving, it triggers that primal trigger in you where you're like, oh, bro.
100%.
Like,
and I think that's not spoken about enough. But like we have so many of these little things as men. Like, for example, I know I'm not a violent dude by any stretch of the imagination. But if I'm in the middle of my fucking set and I'm going heavy and you bump me and you don't say sorry, or you don't like, I feel like you just like were a fucking dick. Yeah. I visualize myself like doing bad things. Like, and I think it's just because you're in the middle of that.
You're heightened testosterone. Like everything's fine. All the hormones are like
It's the equivalent of being in the middle, and that sounds so pathetic because Lord knows our ancestors would laugh if they heard that now. But like, it's because technically, to me, that's like being in the middle of my hunt.
Yeah.
And don't fuck with someone in the middle of their hunt because
dude, I feel the same. I feel the same way about spotting, spotting things. Like, bro, do not touch that bar.
Oh
like,
yeah.
And I'll tell you, if you ask me to spot you, I'll spot anybody. I'll help you, and you will not die. But I will tell you, I'm gonna let you die.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get the bar up.
Yeah.
Because if you touch that bar and you're in the hunt, that you don't get another shot at that again for like a week.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you ruined my one shot in the day.
Yeah.
Like, I for Father's Day this past weekend, I went to the gym because that's what I wanted to do for Father's Day. And I wanted 315 because I haven't benched it in like 6 weeks because my shoulder's been acting up kind of weird. I think it's like the teres, like minor.
Yeah.
And I wanted 315 for Father's Day so bad. And I told my friend, like, dude, do not touch that bar. You're going to ruin Father's Day for me. And my kids are going to be upset and I'm in a bad mood. And so I got a rep and my arms are shaking, but I got it clean, no touch. And I racked it. And the guy next to me, he went for 315 after he saw me do it. And the guy that spotted him just totally grabbed the whole bar and helped him do it. And he got so pissed, dude. He's like, bro, you ruined the lift for me. I can't get it again. Like, there's no, you don't get to redo certain PR things like that.
It's
infuriating.
I totally relate to that. I think I remember very clearly, this is definitely TMI, and I'm going to regret this at some point that I said that, but when I was younger and I started weightlifting, that exact feeling that you're talking about, like you only get 1 day a week to really push hard on that muscle group. I remember like having all these like PRs of like, you know, back in the days where you didn't even need to warm up, you know, like you're like 21 or something. Yeah. And I would go as far as like knowing that I wanted so much of that raw fucking hunger to go in. I would like masturbate and not make myself come. Take myself to the edge, then I would fucking go to the fucking gym.
Okay.
Like just because I was
just
fully like
really in it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You're fucking stroking the bar.
Go, bro.
No,
all right.
fully, it's kind of like, I think it was that same, I don't know how I even fucking got that from. I think it was maybe hearing all these boxers talking about
I was just gonna say there's some MMA fighters, boxers will talk about that. Like when you're training, there's no like masturbating.
Yeah, and I think that's been debunked scientifically speaking. Yeah. But it does do something to your brain when like you're on that weird kick of like
you for sure.
I'm frustrated. Like let me like, you know, where do we go from there? Should I get into
it's
our
true
quote?
though.
Yeah,
let's get to the quote.
Let's get into the quote. All right. June 19th. Don't let your reflection on the whole sweep of life crush you. Don't fill your mind with all the bad things that might still happen. Stay focused on the present situation and ask yourself why it's so unbearable and can't be survived. Marcus Aurelius. Don't let your reflection on the whole sweep of life crush you. Don't fill your mind with all the bad things that might still happen.
I think, you know, being present in the moment, if you're professionally in the gym, relationships, it's so easy to let the mind wander into like the worst case scenarios.
Totally.
And like, you know, and like they haven't happened. And you're like in a bad mood sometimes.
And I think that relates to what you were saying, like the hunter-gatherer days, like you're scoping for fear of what could go wrong to stay
and
safe.
Nothing is actually happening.
Yeah.
Like it's just you. And so to like pull back sometimes and be present in the moment and be like, you know what, like we're in the moment. What can I do right? Not what could possibly happen. Like what decisions can I make for me in this moment? Not anyone else either. Like right now, you know, I can't dictate how you're going to feel. There's no way that I can.
Right.
So thinking about and worrying about all the different things that you could think or feel about, I can't do anything about it. I can only focus on what I can do in this present moment right now and then let you do the same thing, you know? And so I feel like, you know, being present is hard. Yeah. It's one of like the harder things to do because we're always thinking about the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I get the same thing from that quote. Just, I think it's about developing awareness once again of like, especially, you know, to bring it back kind of full circle to the beginning. Like if you're on your way to a new goal, for example, like it's so easy to think about all the reasons why it's going to be hard, all the reasons why it's going to be impossible, all the reasons why you're going to need to take a break at this point, at that point. Like all of that stuff is not there yet.
No,
like,
nothing has happened.
Put the shoes on.
Put the shoes on.
Put your shoes on.
Yep.
Go do the thing, and then I guarantee you with that momentum you're going to create without realizing it, when the challenges do come, because that's inevitable, you will be more equipped. You will have new ways of thinking about how to take on that challenge that's in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to have goals, but it's so important to detach yourself from the future, I think, in some ways.
Totally, yeah. You just need to start right now.
Yeah.
Super simple. What's the smallest step you can take?
Yeah.
Don't think about all the outcomes.
Yeah.
Just the first step.
Rocky, one step at a time, one day at a time, one round at a time.
The guru.
Like that. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Warrior Poet Podcast. Josh,
Kesh.
see you guys next time.